G'day guys, Will Kitching here. Thanks so much for clicking on the video, and I really appreciate all the support that's been coming in from you guys lately. You're absolute legends. Now recently we went for a trip up to the Sunshine Coast to fish the reefs, and we had a really tough session with some bad luck. We managed to put a feed together, and I just thought it would be the perfect opportunity to give you guys some tips on what to do when the fishing is tough to still make sure you put a feed in the esky by the end of the day or have some fun catching some fish. So that's what we're going to do throughout this video. We're going to get straight into the action out on the water, but before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because in this video we find some really good new ground and reef, and in the next video coming up we go there and have a good session and get a really big fish off of it, which is really exciting. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're going to get straight into this video for starters. So we headed out for an afternoon session off the Sunshine Coast. The weather was not great at all, and we started off with some bad luck straight away. Dad hooked a snapper on his first drop and lost it, and then I got busted off by my first solid hookup in the reef. After this, we knew it was going to be tough. We did a lot of drifts without a bite. Now we were floating our baits down slowly for snapper, but it pays to keep an eye on the sounder, which is what I was doing. And I saw a show on a nice lumpy bit of reef down on the bottom, so I dropped my bait straight down, and as soon as it hit the bottom, I hooked up. Something, yeah. Oh, good. Might be a reef of some sort, the way it fit. Yep. So that time, guys, I saw a pretty good show on the sounder. Didn't get a hit on the drop, so I wound it up a bit so I didn't lose my bait to just pickers, and then anyway, after a bit of not getting a bite, I've let it back down again, and I feel like this might be a sweetlip or something like that, because it's when I let it hit the bottom again, it picked it up and it went hard early. We'll find out in a second. Oh, I can call it.
Yeah. Well done, mate.
Oh. Hey. That's all right.
Nice, sweetie.
I'll hold him up for you. Give you a quick look. Not a big one, but good eating size. There you go, guys. Nice little fish. How good is that? Now they are one of the tastiest little reef fish. So haven't eaten them for a while. Gonna bleed him and look after him. But yeah, as I said, was actually up off the bottom. Was hoping for a hit on the drop from a snapper. When I didn't get one, I dropped it back down. There was a good little show on the sounder of some fish close to the bottom, so I dropped it down, and yep, he's picked it up straight away as soon as it hit the bottom. So anyway, we'll deal with him, but he's a nice one. Well, that was a nice little sweetlip, but we did a lot of hard work and a lot of drifts for just one fish. So I decided to put down a bigger bait, the fillet off the side of a yakka, and the bad luck continued because it got hit straight away and once again took me straight into the reef. In the bottom. I saw them on the sounder too, you know. That was a snapper. I've been waiting for that. That was a snapper. Or something. Oh. Bugger, guys. Oh, man. Now the snapper weren't really biting, so I decided to start putting my bait closer down to the bottom and maybe giving it one wind up so I don't get snagged, and targeting those fish that, sit tighter down to the bottom, especially if I saw a show of bait down there. And that's what happened here. I put it right down near the bottom, and this happened. Another sweetie, I'd say.
I think so.
It's going all right. I could have another sweetlip or something here, guys. I dropped my bait to the bottom, and it's having a good little dig. As I was saying before, we missed a couple of good snapper. I think my second hook might have come and pinned him in the side because he's feeling a bit heavier. What do we got here?
Oh, snapper.
Snapper. Oh, pearly.
Oh, big pearly. Nice pearly, yeah. I think
He'll be legal.
I think he'll be legal.
He should be. That's why it felt a bit heavier, because it was coming up with his mouth open. Oh, that'll be nice if that's legal. I'm going to measure him now. They have to be 38 centimeters. He looks like he'll be legal. He looks about at least 40. So anyway, beautiful eating. I can taste him already. Let's hope he's 38. Yep, 40.
Beautiful.
That's what we like. That one's legal, not huge, but a few centimeters over. So yeah, can't wait to taste that fella. One of the best eating fish that we get here. Whoa, geez! That we get here in South East Queensland. As you can see, we're persisting with some pretty jiggly weather, you could call it. But yeah, we're picking off a few fish and we've been unlucky with a couple of big snappers. So we'll keep trying. There's plenty of life on the sounder, and you know, we're not complaining getting reefies like this, that's for sure. So yes, we have a couple of tasty fish in the esky now, but we'd honestly been fishing for probably 2 hours or more, and yeah, that's not a very good return rate. Now there's a couple of things that we do in these situations. Number one is we'll simply just go for a little bit of a drive around our mark and see if we can find any new schools of bait or fish, or even a good bommy or bit of structure on the sounder. If we do, we'll obviously fish this, but if not, then we might check some other marks that we have close by and do the exact same thing. Just have a bit of a sound around, try and find any new bait or fish or structure and fish that. If that fails, then we might just do a nice long drift up along a patch of reef. So what this does is you can pick off the odd fish doing that, just drifting along the reef, but also you could drift onto new spots that you can mark on your GPS. You might drift onto a school of fish on the sounder, and that's exactly what happens to us in a few minutes in this video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. The final thing we'll do, if all else fails, we'll move to a different spot further down the reef or a different reef system altogether, which is what we're actually about to do. So this day we moved into a little bit shallower reef a few kilometers in from where we were, just to try and have a look around, and it ended up paying off. Funnily enough, I accidentally set the man overboard alarm off on the GPS. So while I was trying to turn that off, we had a bit of a bite to eat and just did a long drift and drifted over some ground that we'd never been over before and marked a really nice lump of reef that rose up that was covered in fish life. And we ended up getting a double hookup with our baits just in the rod holders. You're on, you're on. No, I'll fill that one. Where you want it? Oh, it's Sweden. Oh. Back in Sweden. Oh. There was a good show back there, but guys, you wouldn't believe how that's happened. We just were drifting, weren't catching anything, came over a show. I've accidentally put the man overboard alarm off, so I'm trying to figure out how to turn that off. That's what you hear beeping. And we were just drifting over reef, came over a good show. Next minute, the plastic goes off. Dad's got a trigger fish, but we saw a really good show just as the plastic came through it. So looks like there's some life there. I'm going to sort this alarm out and we'll go straight back up. But yeah, I'll hold this good sweetie up for you in a second. It's a nice one. There we go, guys. Had the plastic just floating out the back. It must have got down near the bottom. As I said, that man overboard alarm, I accidentally set it off on the GPS and I was just trying to figure out how to turn it off. Next minute, Dad saw the plastic rod just crank over. That's a very nice solid grassy. Beautiful colours. And yeah, everything seems to love those little pink plastics. Not sponsored by them or anything, but yeah, they're just awesome. So we just saw a really good show, just randomly drifted over it by accident. We're going to go back up and drift over it again. We've got the track on the sounder, on the GPS, sorry, so we can drive straight back up that. Hopefully we can get some more of these or some snapper. So even though that was just a trigger fish that Dad got there was definitely life on the sounder, and that means that, you know, they've got to be hanging around some sort of structure and there had to be some life there, which is what you're looking for, especially on a day like this. It was absolutely dead everywhere else. So when you find something like this, go straight back up and drift over it again, which is what we did, and hooked up again straight away. I'd like to see a snapper, but I don't think it's gonna be. Oh, it's having a dig. Yeah, you better get the net just in case here. So guys, next drift again, the plastic, put it back out. What do we got? Snap. Oh, that's what we want.
Legal.
It'll be legal, but
Only
not a big one. Yeah.
First one we've seen for the day.
So there you go. There's another one on the little pink plastic, guys. Not a huge fish, but it's legal. That's the first snapper we've seen today. We've been targeting them. We've actually moved into a different little spot here. But anyway, that's a good sign. Hopefully maybe there's an afternoon bite about to start. It's been slow up until now, but anyway, if we can pick off a couple of these, we'd be very happy. The plastic, they're loving it. That's 2 in 2 casts. One other little tip for you that I didn't mention is overcast days can often help you a little bit, especially on shallower reefs, because obviously the bright sun, you know, it's the same as in the morning. If the bright sun comes up, sometimes it can shut them down. But when there's a bit of cloud cover, it keeps it a little bit dark. It can put them in feeding mode sometimes. But anyway, a few good signs. Hopefully the afternoon bite here that we're coming into is a really good one. So this is the new ground that we found, that in the next video, you have to subscribe and stay tuned for that. We catch a really big fish off it and have a really good session. But on this day, what ended up happening was we ended up getting plagued by a really small snapper. Just there. Might be a tusky. Oh, snapper. Bugger. Where are the big ones? It's a snapper. It's a little snapper again. Plenty of those. What is going on? Where's your mum?
What is going on? Oh, people.
This is just ridiculous. The good thing is though, there was plenty of fish life, and if this ever happens to you where you're just catching lots of small fish, something you can do is just chuck a bigger bait on and just give it a crack, because often that can deter the smaller fish and a bigger fish might push them out of the way and come and get it. So that's what Dad did here. He put a big strip of, I think, slimy mackerel on and sent it down, and this happened. Oh yeah, that's having a bit more of a dig. Yeah, of course, as soon as I put the cameras down, guys, Dad hooks an actual decent one after about 10 drifts of little ones. It's going all right. It's going better than the other ones anyway.
That's what I've had this afternoon anyway.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Don't let him get off, don't let him get off.
Oh my god.
First drop got him. Didn't have to go through any little fish at all. Just straight into the big ones.
We've been at it for 5 hours. That's my first legal fish. Oh my goodness.
We're the best.
Here we are.
High five. There's a bit of a blow and big swell coming for the next few days. We won't be able to get out for a while, so we came out expecting to get a couple hours. It wasn't that great, but it's not too bad. There's a bit of fish life around, so we've decided to stay as long as we can and just fish it out, even though it's slow. Hopefully they come on. That's a nice snapper though. I'll get him to hold it up for you. All right, so there's that one Dad just got floating down a strip of like a fillet of slimy mackerel. So we've been getting picked off on the pilchards way too quick, so we switched over to a bit, you know, bigger baits, and yeah, kept getting a smaller fish, smaller snapper, but hey, that's a good one. So hopefully there's a few more of those around. We were just about to leave as well. Every time we say that, we get one. But anyway, very nice fish, Dad. Good stuff.
Not too bad.
So that was actually a nice snapper that Dad got. You can't complain with that at all. But after that, our bad luck decided to continue. I didn't get this bit on camera, but Dad got busted off by a really solid fish. His rod was in the rod holder. Next minute, his rod tips in the water. And by the time he got it out and started to fight it, it just took him straight into the reef. So after he lost that fish, I backed him up with some more bad luck of my own. And you'll probably be able to tell that I wasn't very happy about it. I don't know what I've hooked, guys.
Then we go.
Whether it's a snapper or... It's off. It's off. That is ridiculous. Oh. We've just been talking about how tough we've been doing it today. I hooked the best fish for about 2 hours or 3 hours and pulled the hooks on it.
We've hooked 5 really good fish this afternoon, and we haven't boated one of them. Oh.
We've caught about 100 undersized snapper. We keep hooking good snapper and reefies and stuff, getting busted off, losing them, pulling hooks, you name it. It's just been ridiculous. Oh, that is painful. That was a really good fish. This is all I got back.
Unbelievable.
My 2 hooks and the skin from the strip of yakka that I used. Oh, this is a great video, a great example of not every you know, video on YouTube being an amazing session. Sometimes it is very tough. So even though it was not a red hot bite at all, this was the only spot we could find with a bit of life and action on it, so we just kept persisting and just trying to put a few fish in the esky. We had a soft plastic floating out the back, lightly weighted. We were floating our baits down and just trying to get some bigger fish.
Oh, we might be legal.
Guys, holy moly! This one might be legal. I think it will be actually. Only just, but you know, we didn't think the plastic was down in the zone, so we just free spooled it a little bit for 30 seconds and let it sink down. Clicked it over again, and then bang, he was onto it. Well, he's legal, about 38 centimeters, and on a tough day, you don't really care what the size is. By the end of the day, you just want a couple of fillets. So anyway, we'll bleed him and get him straight on ice. So after this fish, we decided it was time to head home. We had a couple of fish in the esky for a feed. You know, we'd been out there for hours, and to be honest, we did just get unlucky with our bigger fish. So the weather was starting to turn pretty crappy again, and it was just time to head home. Well, as you can probably tell from my hair, guys, that trip home was a little bit nautical. Yeah. We were just saying we wouldn't have cared if we had a few more, you know, big snapper in the esky or something, but it's a long way to go there for what we got. But anyway, we were unlucky. We're gonna get some ice for these fish and put them on ice for the night because it's a bit late. We've got to go home and haven't even had lunch. We're starving. We fished all afternoon in the end. So anyway, we're gonna do that, fill them in the morning. So, woo, we're home. It's a lovely cruise in here compared to what we just drove in. Luckily the old Haynes handled it pretty well actually, as it does. Just chews up chop and all that sort of stuff, but it's never good when you got a southeast swell and then northeast chop at the same time. It was just crazy. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I tried to make a video out of it, even though it was not a red hot session at all, but hopefully these tips that I've given you throughout can help you when you're having a tough day out there on the reef yourself. Remember, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned because there's plenty of good videos on the way, and the next one will be when we head back to this spot that we just found in this video, and Dad gets revenge on that big one that busted him off. So it's really exciting and you've got to stay tuned for it. Thanks again if you've watched this far. I really do appreciate all the support lately, and yeah, once again, hopefully the videos are helpful and enjoyable for you. Feel free to leave a comment and a like. I really appreciate that, and I love chatting to you guys as well. And share it with your mates if you think there's any tips in here that could help them. All right, I'm gonna get back inside and keep editing some more videos for you, but until next time, tight lines and happy fishing.